The moment she sat down across from me, my entire world tilted. I had spent months learning how to live with disappointment, years convincing myself that some doors were meant to stay closed forever. Yet there she was, looking at me with eyes that seemed to carry a story I had somehow forgotten. Then she smiled softly and said the words that made my heart stop. She was my blind date. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts around the world. My name is Nathan Carter, and this happened in Charleston, South Carolina. At 34, I had become an expert at avoiding invitations, after losing my father to illness and watching my engagement fall apart within the same year. I spent most of my time buried in work. I repaired historic homes around Charleston, and while the old buildings slowly came back to life under my hands, I felt like parts of me were fading away. My younger sister, Rebecca, hated seeing me alone. For months, she tried convincing me to meet someone. I always refused. Then one Friday afternoon she called and begged me to attend a dinner gathering hosted by a family friend. She promised it wasn't a setup. She promised there would be several people there. Mostly, she promised, there would be good food against my better judgment. I agreed. The restaurant sat near the waterfront, glowing with warm lights as evening settled over the city. I arrived early and expected to see a group of people waiting. Instead, I found a reserved table for two. Confused, I checked my phone. No messages, no explanation. I considered leaving. Then a woman walked through the entrance. She wasn't flashy or dramatic. She wore a simple floral dress and carried herself with quiet confidence. Her auburn hair rested gently on her shoulders. As she looked around the room, when her eyes found mine, something strange happened. A feeling I couldn't explain stirred inside me. She approached the table. Then came those unexpected words. She explained that Rebecca and her best friend had arranged the evening together. It was, in fact, a blind date. Ordinarily, I would have been annoyed. Instead, I stayed. Her name was Grace Whitaker. As dinner began, we exchanged the usual details about work, family, and life. Grace worked as a pediatric physical therapist. She spoke warmly about helping children regain confidence after injuries or illnesses. There was a kindness in her voice that felt genuine rather than practiced. For the first time in years, conversation felt effortless. Yet beneath her smile, I sensed sadness. The longer we talked, the more obvious it became. She laughed, but her eyes occasionally drifted toward the window. She seemed present and distant at the same time. Eventually, she shared the truth. 3 years earlier, she had lost her husband in a car accident. The words hung between us. Suddenly, her sadness made sense. And unexpectedly, so did mine. For the rest of the evening, neither of us tried to pretend we were perfect. We spoke about grief, loneliness, and the strange guilt that comes with moving forward after loss. We talked about how people expect healing to follow a schedule, even though heartbreak rarely follows any rules. When dinner ended, neither of us wanted the conversation to stop. Over the following months, we met often. Sometimes we walked along the harbor. Sometimes we drank coffee and talked for hours. Sometimes we simply sat in silence, watching boats drift across the water. Yet despite the growing connection between us, fear remained. I worried that opening my heart again would only lead to another loss. Grace carried her own fears. She often questioned whether she was allowed to build a new future without betraying the memory of the life she once had. Those doubts created distance neither of us wanted. Weeks passed. Then came the night everything changed. A severe storm rolled through Charleston. Heavy rain battered the city as I worked late restoring an old church damaged by flooding. Exhausted, I finally returned home and found a package on my porch. Inside was a framed photograph. It showed a small playground. At first, I didn't understand. Then I noticed the plaque. Months earlier, I had quietly donated money to help renovate a playground for children with physical disabilities after hearing Grace talk about her patients. I never told anyone. Attached to the frame was a handwritten note. Grace had discovered the donation. She wrote that kindness, reveals who people truly are when no one is watching. She wrote that meeting me had helped her believe in tomorrow again. Most importantly, she wrote that life wasn't asking us to forget our pasts. It was asking us to carry them forward with love. I sat there for a long time, holding that note while rain tapped softly against the windows. Something inside me finally let go. If this story is touching your heart so far, take a moment to leave a comment sharing where you're watching from and tell us whether you believe second chances can change a person's life. The following weekend, I invited Grace to the same restaurant where our blind date had begun. The same table was available. The same warm lights filled the room, but this time everything felt different. There was no fear left to hide behind, no walls left standing. Only gratitude. We spent the evening remembering the difficult roads that had brought us there. We honored the people we had loved and lost. We acknowledged the pain that had shaped us. Then we chose hope, not because life had been easy, not because every wound had disappeared, but because healing sometimes arrives quietly, disguised as an unexpected invitation you almost decline. Years later, whenever people ask how we met, Grace and I smile at each other. We tell them the truth. I thought it was just a dinner invitation. I had no idea it would become the evening that restored my faith in life. The greatest surprises are not always the ones that change your plans. Sometimes they're the ones that change your heart. And if this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you that hope can appear when you least expect it, please like the video, share it with someone who may need encouragement today. And subscribe for more uplifting stories, because sometimes one act of kindness, one unexpected meeting, or one second chance is all it takes to begin again.